Hey guys, what's up? So welcome back to the channel. I haven't been on YouTube for a little time period, so welcome back and happy to have you. So today I'm going to be talking about essentially controlling off-season appetite, which is something that again not many people talk about, not many people discuss. I try and find and edge my way in between some different topics that potentially people haven't discussed too frequently. So yeah, off-season appetite. This is something that I don't experience too much at the moment, but I certainly have clients that have experienced times and phases during massing phases where appetite is still actually significantly higher than we'd expect, given that the calories are much higher than where they were during dieting phases. And there's a bunch of reasonings behind this, but I'm going to get into some ways that you potentially look at controlling your off-season appetites like you would during a prep. So what I see happen quite frequently, which is unfortunate, is that people enter the off-season, they enter gaining phases, and they tend to forget what kind of helped them when they were dieting. So they just look at an off-season as potentially a time to eat like a free-for-all, or at the other end of the scale, they look at an off-season as like, these are the certain foods that you must eat in an off-season. So like, you must eat calorically dense carbohydrates, you must eat a high-fat diet, you must eat this to bump up your calories and get to the point where you are gaining. And for some that is essentially the case. Your typical hard gainers that have to eat a lot of calorie-dense items or to accrue the calorie amount that they need to gain, you may well find that that's what they have to do, but there's people out there that really don't require that. The people that don't require that, like, they really have to look into what they're doing in a more a grander perspective. And to do that, you've got to think about your food options. So when you enter the off season, the first thing that you shouldn't be doing is suddenly grabbing the saurine loaf and 8 bagels, because you've gone from consuming potentially higher volume foods, which are lower in calories, and you're immediately switching to lower volume foods, which are much higher in calories. And you're wondering why you're hungry. This is sort of quite self-explanatory. The answer is because you've changed all your food options. So for me, when I was transitioning into my gaining phase, the reason why I think I kept a good hold on things is because I essentially really didn't change my food choices. And this is something that I see quite frequently across the board. A good representation of an off-season physique and people pushing up is people that really manage their food choices quite well. So they essentially eat very similar to what they'd eat when they were dieting, they just increase the quantities. This will get to a point where appetite for those foods starts to diminish. And that, guys, is your open door to increase or introduce the things that you shouldn't be doing right at the get-go. So it's your time, it's your opportunity to introduce those things like saurine bagels, higher calorie foods that are lower in volume. And that will allow you to accrue enough calories to get to your goal. So the reality is, guys, for a long period, depending on how lean you got, you're going to have to be very aware of your food options. And you've got to keep that mindset locked in for a decent time period. Otherwise, you will risk overeating excessively, getting too far gone in your off season, and then you'll be straight back into a mini cut before you know it. So my general recommendation is to keep calories, or keep food options, very similar upon exiting the diet, and then slowly introduce more calorically dense items as you go on. And this is really an auto-regulated process. So you're gonna have to look at this from a very personal perspective. You can't just say to one person, okay, this is when you introduce this is when you introduce that, because people's appetites are like across the board, guys. You'll have some people that literally, like, as soon as they start getting into decently good calories, like within a couple of weeks of gaining, they're like, okay, appetite is less, significantly less, still there, but it's less. And then you have other people. I think for me, I hold on to my appetite for a long time. So I don't necessarily feel like ridiculously hungry. I just know that I've got an appetite, so that I have to make, still decently good choices when it comes to food groups. If I was to eat just, Pop-Tarts all day, I wouldn't be satiated, and the the ability for me to overeat would certainly be open. The door would be very much open for that. So yeah, just be sensible, guys, is my advice. And you know, even if it's a mini cut that you've done, like really address your food options and then slowly introduce the more calorically dense items of food. And don't copy people. Please don't copy people, man. Like, you see people just follow trends when it comes to eating patterns. Like, just because someone has this post-workout doesn't mean that you have to have it. Like, you know, you can get away with whatever you would like to eat. Of course, try what other people are having, but like, if you were to look at someone who, say, consumes 800 grams of carbs in a day, and you're consuming 250, if you were to try and copy their nutritional setup in terms of food selection, food timing, you'd be fucked. You'd be ruined. Sorry to swear, but you really would. Like, you wouldn't be in a good spot for sure. So really addressing your food options with relevance to your macro intake is the best way to work around things. So hope this video resonates with some people. Hope you're all good. Hope you're enjoying some fat coming back on my face. So I'm no longer looking, oh dear, what's that on my eye? I'm no longer looking like a starved person. And the fact is we aren't starved, but you know, I'm no longer looking like sunken marathon runner face, which is good. So we're making gains. So yeah, lots of love, guys. We'll chat soon in a bit.